In this video, we'll prepare a Week 10 cash and GPP lineup on the main slate for FanDuel. Hello, everyone. I'm Eric Lee. He's Michael Wiley, and we are the Fantasy Football Consultants. Michael, let's see. Week 10, we're in double digits already. What do you got cooking at running back?
Well, as we really like, especially in FanDuel, you got to go to, take advantage of the opportunity to get the best running backs available. Don't have Eckler, McCaffrey on the main slate this week. Mixon's on bye. So look who's at the top. It's Barkley and Henry, and gosh, we got to get some of those guys in there. And I really like Barkley coming fresh off a bye. Look what he's done week in and week out in terms of touches. He's basically involved in all aspects of the game. I'd like to see him get a little more involved in the passing game, but FanDuel half PPR. I think that we love that he's getting all those key touches. Look what he does every single week. I think of everyone on here, really the highest floor and really as much upside as anyone. Got to get him in there, even at the $9,500 price tag.
Yeah, like you referred to, you can absolutely get rich by simply playing running backs against the Houston Texans. But this is just no ordinary running back. It's Saquon Barkley, who's really impressed this year. All right, so you spent a lot of money, Michael, on Saquon Barkley. I am not going to spend as much money for my running back. I'll save $100. Let's get Derrick Henry in our lineup. Man, oh man. For me, as the season goes along, this guy just continues to get better and better. And it's only a question of, do I like his matchup? Well, I like his matchup this week. He is a home favorite against the Denver Broncos, who do a much worse job against the rush than the pass. They don't have Bradley Chubb anymore, which are baked into those numbers. He's averaged 27 touches over the last 6 games. That's insane. So with Malik as their quarterback, I mean, this is a running team, and I think they will be able to run against Denver.
Yeah, I mean, they cannot pass the ball. Even, with this new quarterback that's in there, he just looks atrocious. They have to rely on the run. Derrick Henry's going to benefit from that. And I think Denver is not going to, they're not going to be in comeback mode against Denver, which is how weak Denver's offense has been. So, yep, let's get him in there. So, Eric, you're going to save us some money at wide receiver, right?
Yeah, no. By far the best wide receiver so far this year is Cooper Kupp. Now you say, but Eric, what about his matchup? There's nothing wrong with his matchup this week against a weak Arizona Cardinals. I make the point that the offense of the Rams have struggled this year. They've only scored 14.5 points, but their implied total is 9 points higher at 23.5. So the pie should be even bigger. I see no reason why Cooper Kupp shouldn't have a big game. The only concern I have is that we just added 3 incredible studs to our lineup at 9,500, 9,400, and 9,200. So we have to be economical the best of the way. But Michael, I really think these 3 guys can really carry our lineup this week.
Yeah, no, I mean, Cooper Kupp's going to break records this year in terms of receptions. He's by far of all the teams the most, relied upon receiver. Got to get him in there. I'm going to go ahead and take my average down, which yours is now, I think, 9,300. I'm going to take my average down to a little over $7,000, going with the guy that's only $5,600. So you got to go way down there. George Pickens, that's getting the ball from Pickett, Pittsburgh, New Orleans. They've been one of the better defenses, but they haven't necessarily shut down the pass like in years past. Lattimore has basically been out, or just not the same guy when he's been in there. I really like this connection that Pickett and Pickens have. And I think that you're seeing increased usage every single week. He didn't really get much that week against Philadelphia, but otherwise he's been used. He's getting 6 to 7 to 8 targets a game. Really important for the Steelers to have the passing game going, given how much they've struggled with the run. I think that this is a bargain.
Yeah, and you got to remember Claypool has been traded. He is gone, and I think between him and Deontay Johnson, those are their main passing weapons at wide receiver. So I like this pick. I think the price is really great. What can you ask for more than a wide receiver in Rondale Moore, who's been sensational this year? He had a really rough start where he was injured for the first 3 weeks. But as soon as he got his legs under him in 4 of the last 5 weeks, he has at least 8 targets. In the last 2 weeks with DeAndre Hopkins playing, he still is receiving targets. And in this game, who does he face? The LA Rams, who do a much better job against the run versus the pass. And when you're talking about defending the pass and you're thinking about the Rams, you're thinking about Jalen Ramsey, and he will shadow DeAndre Hopkins. So I think Rondale Moore at a ridiculously low $5,800 price. I really like him this week.
Yeah, no, nice bargain. Needed to go there. I'm going to save us some money at the quarterback position as well. So if you get over there, you'll see that, got some high priced guys. We got to go down into the $7,000 range.
Around here, like Colt McCoy,
come on.
Tyler.
You got names there of people who aren't going to even play. We need somebody who's going to at least start the game. Okay, so there you go. Trevor Lawrence at $7,000. Going up against a Kansas City defense, it's been really tough on the run. So Travis Etienne's not going to get his 100-plus yards rushing this week, although I'm sure he'll be heavily used. I'd like to see Trevor Lawrence use him a little bit more on the backfield. The Kansas City pass defense has not been as strong. They're one of the worst teams in the league against the pass. Part of that's because they've been ahead and teams have had to come back and use the passing game. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to have to use his legs. He's been doing that when he needs to in comeback mode. And that's going to happen again here. I think he's going to get in the end zone, both on the run and on the pass. So I think this is a nice little bargain play. No one else really calls my name as much as Trevor Lawrence in this price tag range.
No, I like it. Great pick. So at tight end, that one's mine, right?
That's you. That's right.
I'm picking tight end. So I love to pick Travis Kelce. In fact, we did some lineups builds with Travis Kelce, but obviously you can't have Kelce with Kupp, Henry, and Barkley. And we didn't want to give up on either of those guys. So I've got a page down. So like Greg Dulcich, but I'm surprised that $1,000 even less than Greg Dulcich is Evan Ingram. I do not understand it, Michael. I do not understand why FanDuel continues to insult Evan Ingram. All he does, in a good matchup, by the way, we just talked about Trevor Lawrence, where we think that we will see some garbage time passing. Well, Evan Ingram could be one of the key people that will be the beneficiary of that, along with Christian Kirk. So look what he's done. He consistently gets targets. Don't worry about last week against the Raiders. He got injured early in that game. So sorry, you can't get targets when you're not on the field. But I like his floor and in this game script, Michael.
Yep, no, I agree. And that price tag is just hard to pass up, especially with how much money we have left. And I'm going to have to do similar at the flex spot. And so we've talked a little bit about this. It's taking advantage of the Las Vegas Raiders, just poor defense, especially against the pass. But we're going with a running back here because it's a half PPR league. We want to get in somebody who's going to get a lot of touches. And I think that Jonathan Taylor is just not 100%. And so even if he plays this week, against the Raiders, which would be a nice matchup for him, I think you're going to see Deion Jackson in. But I think there's a high chance that they continue to let Jonathan Taylor's ankle recover. And so, I know we didn't quite see what you might have wanted to see this last week out of Jackson against New England. But that's because New England is very tough against the run. Look what Deion Jackson did against Jacksonville and Denver earlier on in the season, when Jonathan Taylor was out or rarely used. He gets involved. He can get involved in the passing game, which again, I think is something that, the Raiders have been weak against, especially against tight ends and running backs. And so I'd like to see that happen this week. I think this price tag is nice. Not a lot of other names call me at this price tag. I want to get a running back in there. But if for some reason we learn that Jonathan Taylor is 100% healthy, then this play isn't quite as good. But
it's Devin Singletary that I would be okay as a pivot if it turns out that Jonathan Taylor is going to play at the end of the week. Singletary is in a very good situation as a home favorite. The thing with Buffalo is Singletary can just be game scripted out if they fall behind. They usually do not fall behind. Here they are, I believe, 7-point favorites, 7.5-point favorites against Minnesota. So I think the game script should, in fact, be that they play from ahead. And that's where Singletary usually comes out as a higher floor.
Yeah, and the Buffalo is very embarrassed by this New York Jets loss. I know it was in the Jets stadium, and the Jets defense did come up big, but I think Buffalo is going to come out frustrated, and they're going to beat up on Minnesota in this game.
For now, we're going to put Deion Jackson because if Taylor is out, we like him as the guy in the lineup. But just watch the news. We want to remind everybody we are so close to 10,000 subscribers. And if you made it this far of the video and you haven't subscribed, please smash that red subscriber button. All right. At defense, there's very little drama to who we're going. A lot of times we just simply punt our defense as long as we're not horrified at who's at the bottom. We're pretty close to horrified, ladies and gentlemen, that we're stuck with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, one thing that we say is that watch the news for values. And if there is, you can go up a little bit. Even the Vikings, we were very frustrated that we were $100 short from being able to get the Vikings against Buffalo. But Jacksonville, I don't know if you have any comment about Jacksonville. I mean, I can sit here and try to dress up, put lipstick on a pig, but the reality is it is a punt defense. We do fear this Kansas City offense.
That lineup. I mean, look at it again. We got Barkley, Henry, Kupp. I mean, this is so hard to make happen. So much upside, such a high floor. Really like this lineup.
All right, so let's take a look at our GPP lineup. All right, Michael. For our GPP lineup, we're going to start with a stack. And I got a sneaky good game that I would like to expose. And that game is Detroit and Chicago. There are two reasons. I like that this over-under is 48, so a good amount is scored. But you can pick a stack with these guys that is not that expensive. So I'm going to have Justin Fields throwing to Darnell Mooney and running that back with Amon St. Brown. First of all, this Chicago Bears offense is simply running a ton better in this last 3 weeks than they did earlier in the season. And some of these numbers are still reflecting their poor start during the season. And running it back to Amon Ross St. Brown, I think his ceiling, Michael, is so high without TJ Hawkinson on the team. We saw what he did at the end of the year last year. Detroit, I know that they had a low-scoring game last week, but traditionally, it is a huge high-scoring game anytime the Lions are involved.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, Justin Fields is starting to figure things out a little bit. Maybe the best thing that's happened to Darnell Mooney is having Claypool in the lineup. Finally, they're getting the ball to him. And so I like this stack, especially at this price.
All right. The other game that I want to attack is even a higher scoring game as a part of a small stack. It's Kansas City and Jacksonville with a 50.5 over under. Look, I am just going to get the two number one wide receivers on both ends at relatively reasonable prices at $7,000 and $6,800. Any comments about Juju Smith-Schuster and Christian Kirk?
No, I mean, Juju Smith-Schuster is becoming a reception machine. He's being used, because of the big body. It's huge. And Christian Kirk, I mean, gosh, what a pick we had with him last week. Again, this Kansas City defense is strong against the run, which means Kirk's going to be necessary in the passing game.
All right, folks. One last stack for this GPP lineup, and it's a big one. It's going to be a running back defense. And we're going to take the highest priced running back, but with the guy that I think has the highest ceiling. Why? Not only because he's been so good this year, he faces the Houston Texans, who not only is the worst running back, worst defense against running backs, they're the worst ranked rush defense. And in my opinion, I think they're the worst team in the NFL. The Giants are huge favorites here at home. So let's pick their defense to correlate with that. Spend the $4,300 on the New York Giants.
Yeah, well, we've already talked a lot about Saquon Barkley. I mean, he's got not only such a great floor, but a high ceiling. Like that Giants defense to go with it. Eric, love what you got so far. Where are we going to end?
Well, where we're going to end is we've got a running back that we've already talked about, Deion Jackson. So this lineup is absolutely conditional on Deion Jackson, on Jonathan Taylor not playing. So, and I'm actually excited at only 5,500 to be able to get who I think is the number 2 targeted on his team, Dalton Schultz. This guy is in a reasonable game environment. They have a 24 implied total. Dak Prescott is back, and you see in the last 2 games, he has targeted Dalton Schultz. So I'm happy to get him with a high ceiling.
Yep,
I think he hits the end zone.
It as well. Good job with this lineup. I think a lot of upside here, like the stacks.
We also broke down a DraftKings cash and DraftKings GPP lineup in separate videos. Both of them are on your screen now when they're available. Until next time, take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.